The Dallas Cowboys are entering one of the toughest stretches of their season. Thursday night, they will face the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think is the key to victory for the Cowboys on this one?
Yeah, it's almost December. It's a winter. It's a winter gauntlet.
It is. Because then you know that the Eagles are next.
Right. And again, this is a stretch of 5 teams that are all contenderish.
Yeah.
Now, we just saw over the course of the Thanksgiving weekend the ups and downs that even the good teams have.
Yep.
Detroit somehow lost at home to a very mediocre Green Bay team as just one example.
Right.
Seattle has lost 2 straight. As good a program as that is under Pete Carroll, and of course the Cowboys' plan is to have them lose 3 straight. The travel is an issue, as we discuss a great deal when it comes to the Thanksgiving thing. If you're going to play a cluster of games, have a big turkey sandwich at this time of year, better to be at home. And the Cowboys are that.
Back-to-back Thursday games, though, is definitely a challenge.
Definitely. Now, your reward for the Cowboys is you get done Thursday, and now you've got a 10-day window to prepare for yet another game of the year. And we say this respectfully to the Eagles and to Philadelphia fans. The Eagles are so good, no, not lucky, good. They're not any more lucky than any other good team is. If you're 10-1, you're lucky and good.
Right.
The Cowboys
That's how the NFL works.
Right. The Cowboys are 8-3, and they've been lucky and good.
Right.
Although Cowboy fans vehemently disagree. You have earned your way to 10-1. The Cowboys will be glad, though, that they have a 10-day window now to not only heal up, but also to prepare game plan wise. So there's an advantage to be had in a sense, Philadelphia coming here, but first take care of business. And as the Cowboys like to say now, Dan Quinn and Dak Prescott leading this charge, let's just run our race.
Right.
Let's just stay in our lane, because the numbers do not suggest you're catching Philadelphia. Not yet anyway.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. Today, Coach Mike McCarthy previewed the matchup with the Seahawks, and he said that their defense actually reminds him a little bit of his own defense, and he complimented their defense. He also said that the Cowboys defense will be challenged by their running game. Those are 2 things that I'm watching for. What about you?
Yeah, the weaponry that Seattle has is pretty impressive. Geno Smith, of course, a comeback player of the year guy, been in the league for a long time, had never quite reached the heights that he reached last year, and here he is again doing much of the same. Kenneth Walker from TCU, Charbonnet, and they both work. The wide receiver crew, starting of course with the veterans, DK Metcalf, the big impressive, very physically impressive guy, and right on down the line with the weaponry they have on offense. McCarthy's point about their defense, of course, the first thing you think of is, well, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Now a lot of time has passed since Dan Quinn was there, but he is still a beloved figure in Seahawks lore, no question, because Legion of Boom and the foundation that they built there. And while there may have been changes, obviously in personnel, but also changes philosophically or whatever over the years, the foundation that Dan Quinn and Pete Carroll were very much a part of, that does carry on as Seattle tries to make the playoffs. Last year was a surprise for Seattle to make the playoffs. This year, I think it's fair to say, if they somehow falter and don't make the playoffs, that will be a surprise in reverse.
Very true. Deron Bland set the NFL record for most pick sixes in a season last weekend on Thanksgiving. Who do you think is Defensive Player of the Year? Because Bland his name has been thrown in there.
Yeah, it's pretty traditional in the NFL now for not only the MVP to be the quarterback of somebody. That's pretty much a 20-year run-in with Adrian Peterson interrupting it once. On defense, it's guys who get sacks.
Yeah.
And that's the glamour. That's the glamour thing on defense. It's not going to be somebody
who gets. What about guys who get pick sixes?
Yeah,
that's pretty glamorous.
Right. And the reason that there's not very much precedent for that is because nobody's done this.
Not like him.
There is certainly a movement. Darius Slay, who has been a 5-time Pro Bowler, knows his way around, and he plays for the Eagles, so he has no reason to be favorite towards the Cowboys. He says it's a no-brainer that Deron Bland needs to be Defensive Player of the Year. Even LeBron James thinks it, and you know what else? Micah Parsons thinks it. And 2 months ago...
And Micah wants that for himself.
Right. 2 months ago, Micah Parsons thought he should win Defensive Player of the Year, and so now he's throwing a lot of his support behind Bland. And you've talked to him a lot. We've talked to him. The way he carries himself.
The preparedness, the humble,
right.
everything.
and quiet. Not that Micah Parsons isn't prepared and humble, but he's not quiet.
No.
And so, and so Bland has his own personal style, and it doesn't include a lot of showboating or a lot of thumping of his own chest. He does, however, have a plan, in addition to wanting to help this team to a Super Bowl, which he put into words the other day. He's going to have to build a trophy case at his house. He has kept all the balls, and I think they're just boxed up somewhere. They're probably boxed up somewhere here in the building. If he's smart, he won't have just kept all the balls from his pick sixes, but he in the last year and a half, he's the #1 interceptor in the NFL. So there might not be a trophy case. It might have to be a trophy room that he builds eventually. And then one fun thing to think about going forward, next year, Trayvon Diggs will be here and be back and be healthy. And
dangerous duo.
Right, and forget about, for the moment, contractually with this guy, just talk about the talent. Gilmore, this is his final year of his contract, doesn't mean he can't come back.
Right.
But the starting cornerback tandem of Bland, who I don't think is moving into the slot again anytime soon.
Right.
That wouldn't seem to be advisable. Bland and Diggs, I don't know if they're the best cornerback duo. I don't know. But because that's hard to measure.
Yeah.
But as far as being...
Well, we haven't seen them together yet.
That's true. But as far as being the best playmaking duo, well, the numbers would suggest nobody does what they're poised to do next year. And for now, Gilmore and Bland, pretty good. And nobody has done what Bland has done individually. And so, yes, that's an excellent pick. You can go to like Myles Garrett in Cleveland. You can go to Watt in Pittsburgh. But as Slay said the other day, wake me up when those guys get 25 sacks, because getting 18 sacks or whatever, people do it all the time. But
what Bland, an NFL record.
Nobody does. Nobody's ever done what Bland has done. If you're ever going to give him props in terms of a big trophy, this is the time, this is the place, and DaRon Bland is the guy.
Would be very deserved, that's for sure. Unless you were living under a rock this weekend, you probably saw that quarterback Dak Prescott and his girlfriend are expecting a baby girl. Now we know Dak, we talk to him every day basically. How cool is this for somebody who is under such a big microscope when it comes to the NFL, but is also such a good person in the community?
Someday you'll know what I know and what Dak and Miss Ramos are about to know. It's just so life-changing. And Dak Prescott is a guy that's already so grounded in so many ways. Is he going to be more inspired? That doesn't seem very possible given his devotion to the cause. But fatherhood makes you, it fires you up. It has reason. I hate to be over dramatic. It gives you a purpose.
Totally.
And so previously, Dak Prescott's purpose was to win football games and win the Super Bowl. Now he wants to win football games, if he's like most of the rest of us, win football games and win the Super Bowl for little baby girl.
Right.
You got baby names yet picked out?
I have no. Me, personally?
For him.
Oh, no.
Not for you. I don't want to. That's your private business.
No. I don't have any, and I haven't heard any whispered about with that.
Okay. You could call a girl Dakota.
Oh, that's a great
Wouldn't
name.
that be cute?
Yeah.
You could call a girl Rain, Rayne.
Yeah.
His name is Rain, and his sweetheart's name is Sarah Jane.
Yeah, a little rhyming situation.
Sarah Jane Rain Prescott. You're welcome, Dak. It's very. I'm a professional sports writer, so sports poetry is right up my alley. Sarah Jane Rain. Jane Rain. Rain Jane.
There's a bunch of options. We're here at the Stars. The Cowboys are preparing for the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Are there any whispers you're hearing around here?
The use of the inspirational day, the use of inspirational moment, and how do you capture that, and how do you grab that? I'm not saying the players were inspired by Dolly Parton the other day.
Yeah.
I would say they weren't. I would say that
they didn't watch it.
They didn't watch it, and they probably barely know who she is. Is that fair?
No, everyone knows who Dolly Parton is.
If you're a 24-year-old
you know who Dolly
football
Parton
player,
is.
Okay.
You may not have seen her live perform, but you know who she is.
All right. By the way, it was.
She did great.
It was great because it was adorable.
Yeah, it was
right?
really cool.
Okay, but
not a lot of almost 80-year-olds come out in a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader uniform.
It worked for her.
It worked great.